tuning into the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show with your host, Michael Carvelis.
Hello, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. You're watching Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, November 27th, 2024. I am your host, Michael Carvelis, here in Guyton, Georgia. Producer Joe is behind the scenes in Banditland, New York. We are live on 12 Sports via Twitter/X and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the 12 Sports channel if you're on YouTube for other great shows and live sports. Reminder, this is the final week of Hype Up Month 2024. Your favorite/only daily lacrosse talk show in the universe is just heating up and we're almost cooking. Alrighty, on today's awesome show, I'll give you my MVP prediction for upcoming 2024 season. We will have a guest, Hutton Jackson, another betting expert, because he's better than me, obviously. And of course, we'll finally unveil Mike and producer Joe's championship predictions. Cannot wait to get to that. Before we get started, we want to let you know that this show is presented by tickets.12ouncesports.com. That's tickets.numbers12letters OZ sports.com. Get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less by going to that website. They also include every sport and all your favorite artist concerts. Not to mention Broadway and theater. Tickets.12ouncesports.com. And now, let's get into our first topic without further ado. Who is going to win MVP in 2024-25 season? You know, it's interesting. As you know how my predictions have gone, there's been players that I could have thrown out there, like somebody from the Toronto Rock, who obviously I have going 16-2. I could have had someone from the Firewolves who go 12-6. Bandits who go 14-4. Here is what I came up with. My three finalists for MVP are as follows. Dane Smith of the Buffalo Bandits. Connor Fields of the Rochester Nighthawks. And Jeff Teets of the Ottawa Black Bears. I think Dane Smith is going to score a lot of goals this year along with his boatload of assists because he has such an off-year shooting last year. I feel like it only makes sense that he reverts back to being amazing. But here's the problem with Dane. It's not a problem with Dane, it's more a problem with the team. He's got Josh Byrne, he's got Matt Vince, he's got Chase Fraser, he's got the Hogan Nanacook, he's got the whole crew. That's the issue with Dane Smith winning MVP. It may not be fair, but when you have a Robin on your team, Josh Byrne, come on, man. Come on. Then you go to Connor Fields, one of our friends of the show and a very awesome player. One of the top 3 to 5 players in the league, in my opinion, Connor Fields. The problem with Connor Fields is his team might miss the playoffs, and even me, who has them making it, has them finishing 9-9. And then that leaves the high-volume player from the Ottawa Black Bears, the relocation team, Jeff Teet. Not only is Jeff Teet going to put up another heroic season, I'm going to predict his best season yet in the NLL. I don't know if he gets past the points he's had before, but I think he'll have a very efficient year with lower turnovers and higher shooting percentage. The thing with Jeff Teet is, I do think the Black Bears also finish 9-9, but again, I just think he's going to continue this run of being amazing at what he does. So I'm very excited to see how he plays this season. I think, like I said, high volume, high efficiency. I think he'll win the MVP. Again, Jeff Teets is my MVP for this upcoming season. Who is your MVP? Let me know in the comments when you're here. I think you guys there could be some differing opinions on this. Of course, like I said, we have Dane Smith, who could, like I said, probably is going to heat up. But who is your MVP? Is it a sleeper? I flirted with the Wesley Berg idea. We don't know. But thanks so much for watching this awesome show. When we come back, we're going to talk to Hutton Jackson, betting analyst / experts. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
To my left, and I guess your right, is Hutton Jackson. To the far right is even more Hutton Jackson. Hutton, welcome back to the show, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be back on the show and excited to talk some NLL.
Where'd you get the NLLPA hat? That's not fair.
I got it. Reed Reinhold hooked me up, so I was looking for an opportunity to buy one, and he actually sent me one. So shout out to Reed and the work he's doing with the NLLPA.
You know, it might be bigger, which is good for me because like that wouldn't. I was like, it's big for your head. It might fit my head perfectly. That's good. By the way, producer Joe wants to let you know that I thought we had a graphic for you like 10 minutes before the show, and then we realized, oh crap, we got to drum one up real quick. So producer Joe made that for you. So
I love it. Thank you.
You look cool, man. Speaking of cool, I've heard of Dub Club before. Is that? I know it's like one of the things you've announced, but is that the place we're going to be now for Hutton Jackson?
Yeah, so Dub Club is a service that allows you to, some handicappers on that sell their picks. I personally don't sell my picks. I have a free subscription right now on Dub Club. I may in the future charge people if they want my picks early, but I'll still always post them for free on betonlacrosse.com, which is the new site that I'm going to be posting my articles and stuff. But in the meantime, completely free, just a way to like get my picks out to people in real time. So I was logging them in the Action app, and that sends out notifications. But I'm just using the Action app mostly as a tracking platform. And I felt like Dub Club's delivery to subscribers was better. So I'm trying to move my subscriber base over there. So telling everybody that knows to subscribe to Dub Club. It may ask for your credit card, but it's free. And you'll get a notification whenever I charge. So if I charge, and for the meantime, I'm not going to. So it's just another way to deliver my picks. If you follow me on the Action app, you would get notifications from them. Now you would get them from Dub Club. So I recommend everyone go there because the odds do move when I sometimes bet some stuff. So I recommend, subscribing to that. That way you can get the best of the number, because by the time I'm logging them in the Action app, some of those numbers are gone. So just for people that are used to getting them from the Action app and the articles, that's where they'll live now.
Well, I mean, isn't that awesome? Like, does it feel surreal to you? I don't think I've ever asked you this. It's got to feel weird, like, knowing, like, dang, I moved the lines. Only, at least for the National Lacrosse League, right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It stinks sometimes, too, because, you want people to be able to tail you and stuff. And then sometimes limits come in and to play, and that's when it gets a little even more frustrating. But, it is what it is. It's nice to know that they respect me enough that they will move the lines based on what I bet, at certain books. And then other books, I think they maybe move in reaction to, me influencing other people to bet. So there's a few books out there that maybe don't move right away when I bet them, but then once the articles are out, the notifications go out, stuff like that, that's when you start to see some movement there too. So yeah, it feels good to be respected. But at the same time, it doesn't mean much, to me in terms of winning or losing your bet. Like, I lose just as much as I win, whether they move the lines or not. So it's good to always, definitely tail me and get that value added, because I am a profitable bettor. But at the end of the day, it's, doesn't mean much to me whether they move the lines or not.
I mean, you're a humble man, but I mean, I respect the crap out of it. By the way, I don't know if I influenced you, but and I don't know when you made this pick, but I also love the fact that Calgary Roughnecks will miss the playoffs. I'm mentioning this one because it is like the free teaser of it. I mean, it's all free, but you get it. I was like, is it like plus? Where are you getting plus money at? Because I was not surprised, but I don't know where to find that at. So
yeah,
break that down for me.
So FanDuel is where I got it at. It was open at plus 126, and that was one that there's a few on there that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some more research on and see. I was building a model at the time, a projections model, just projecting out. Pretty much, I can go into that in greater detail if you guys want, or you can listen to the podcast that I have coming out later today. But projected at each team's, goals for, goals against, going into the season. Used a lot of data from last season as well as some stuff from Lax metrics, and then made some manual adjustments based on teams' goaltender changes, additions on offense, subtractions on defense, stuff like that. I mean, the Calgary is a prime example of where I definitely heavily factored Christian Del Bianco not being there this year. Yeah. But that was one where I was like, all right, I have to jump on this right away. So ended up betting that at plus 126, giving it out to people on the Action app. It was before I had signed up for Dub Club. And then I used that kind of as like a test to see how, the notification system works on Dub Club. But yeah, that was what I bet. I still like it at, I think it's minus 130 on FanDuel now. So it's moved a little bit. It was plus 126. Then it was like minus 104, minus 122. I think it went down to like the minus 140 range for a little bit and somehow creeped a little bit back up. So there might be some people out there that maybe thought it was a little bit too much of an overcorrection, or maybe FanDuel just wanted to limit their liability on potential hedging. But ultimately, yeah, I think minus 130 is still a good number to bet a team that, lost their MVP from 2 seasons ago. And traded a few players away, saw some players leaving free agency. I mean, obviously the additions of Curtis Dixon and Dane Doby, I don't want to belittle their addition to this offense that was, struggling to be consistent last year, but the pieces they lost in transition on defense are concerning. So I definitely have them towards the bottom of my projected standings, and I think it'll be tough for them to make the playoffs based on, those key pieces they lost.
No, and I'm of the same mindset, again, not to screw people over with the money even more, but I'm also 1,000% on the fade Calgary train, and mostly Del Bianco, but like you said, transition stuff as well. All right, so are there any player props? I think you get those, because I know Coolback Canada offers them. I think you've told us you've gotten them before too, right?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, FanDuel offered player props. Last year, Bet365 did. Sometimes it takes a couple weeks, because they kind of want to, gauge the market, or sometimes it's just they post them, 24 to 48 hours in advance. So right now I do not have any player props, unfortunately, which are my bread and butter. So I love player props. Definitely keep a lookout As soon as I see them somewhere, I'll sound the alarm and everything. But as of right now, I don't see any on Bet365 or FanDuel, and haven't seen them on any other books either. But those would be the two I would be looking for them on. Again, Bet365 might end up only being the only one like they were last year, which is unfortunate. But we'll see where it goes. So as of right now, no player props, but I do have a few bets on sides and totals.
A little bit of side pieces. By the way, I just want to ask your opinion on Connor Fields, who had 120 points last season. I told folks, if Coolback Canada's telling me 109.5, I mean, that sounds good to you, right? I mean, I don't know if you've done your research on those yet.
Yeah, so I don't have any MVP odds in the United States. I haven't done any research. I'm also, I assume I will be a voter as well for MVP and the awards this year. So I don't want to comment on any awards that I'll potentially be voting for. I will say last year I voted for Connor Fields for MVP.
Hey.
He was, top one. He was my one out of the 5 that you list. So he got my vote for MVP last year. I just think based on, the team, like that defense was so bad last year. And such a liability, and yet the offense still managed to compete. He still managed to put up numbers and all. So, I definitely think, he could be in the running for MVP. So I won't touch on the odds a little bit, but I definitely think he is a guy that I'll be keeping my eye out on, seeing how he's doing. And I do think the defense will be better this year. So maybe that translates to more team success, and that maybe helps his case. Although I always think too, MVP doesn't necessarily mean like you're on the best team. Which is part of why I voted for him last year. I thought he elevated a worser team than, say, a Dane Smith or a Josh Byrne on a Buffalo. No disrespect to the seasons they had as well, but that's kind of where my logic went with him last year. But that's thoughts on MVP. I wish we got MVP odds, even though I wouldn't be betting them. Still, I wish we got them in the United States because it's still a great market to bet. But currently none where we are in the States.
No, I didn't mean. I think I talk fast. I mean just like the points at 109.5 compared to like 100.
Oh yeah.
That was my bad.
Oh no, all good. 109.5. He had 120 last year.
That's what I'm saying. That's like a low number.
Yeah. I would probably
like that,
go over
right?
without looking. I think I'd probably go over on that just based on Rochester is one of the teams that I think has a more favorable schedule. So they're actually 6th in my power rankings. But their projected finish is 4th based on how the schedule shakes out, which I take into count like, who they play, based on kind of what their rating is. So usually the rankings kind of shape out the way the standings shake out the way the rankings are, at least currently. But actually, because they play some teams on back-to-backs, I weigh that also because teams on a back-to-back, playing a fresh team tend to do worse. So I weighed that into it a little bit. So I actually like their schedule, and I gave out, on Monday on Dub Club to bet them at plus 1,600 to win the championship a little on that. So, right now I think the longest you can get is 1,400 on Bet365, but I still like them at that number just because I think they have, their schedule to start is a little rough because they do play, they play some team twice. I forget who. It might be Buffalo. But I think they're going to compete with Buffalo. So that's kind of why, I'd rather get in now. I think Buffalo's odds could maybe get a little bit longer and Rochester's get a little bit shorter. Or even if Rochester ends up losing a couple games, I don't think their odds are going to get that much longer right now. So they're a team that I'm pretty high on going into the season, just given the defensive acquisitions they made. They really took that area of weakness, and I think they're going to make it into a strength. It might take a few games for them to get their feet under them, but they went out and got some big free agents to kind of fill that void.
So here's a team that I've been looking at. I'm glad you went there with the championship because the Colorado Mammoth, I mean, when I saw them, it was like weeks ago, it was like 2,400 or 22 to 1, something like that. And I feel like in a league with like the dispersal draft that created even more parity, I went blurry, that created even more parity. They added a Will Malcolm. They got Ryan Lee back healthy. Dylan Ward, I don't think is gonna lay an egg again. Colorado is still at 16 to 1 on a book I just saw. Does that seem spicy to you as well?
So I think 16 to 1 is a little bit like on the lower end, just because there's still, some questions whether Ryan Lee's going to be fully healthy. But if you find anything, I think 20 to 1 or longer, right. And I think there are 25 to 1 still out there. I got it at 28 to 1. I think when they were first open, just there's so much variety between the books. So you see a 16 to 1 there's the 25 one out there. So definitely do your due diligence and make sure, if you do have access to multiple sports books, to go out there. But I think 20-1 or longer, they're definitely worth a flyer just based on what they've been able to do in the playoffs. I think Dylan Warren's going to have a bounce back year. I do think Ryan Lee, is going to stay healthy and going to have a good season. Obviously that's still a question mark, coming off an ACL injury, and they're going to ease him back in. But I do think they have the pieces to compete this year. So, and they're another team along with Rochester that has an advantage where they have 2 weekends where they play teams on short rest. So they're the only 2 teams that don't have a doubleheader and also play 2 teams on short rest. So, there are, it doesn't mean everything, but there is some schedule advantage there too. So they're a team I'm high on going into the season. I have them, kind of being on a bubble playoff team. So I'm not, I would be very, modest with your amount that you put on them, but definitely worth a flyer at those odds after seeing what they did. I mean, they finished, I don't know if they were below 500 or around 500 the past 2 times that they went to the NLL finals. So again, that's why it's like, maybe don't bet their playoff odds, but bet them now at this number, because if they potentially sneak in or if they start to do well in the beginning of the season, those odds are going to, get really low really quickly.
If it helps anybody, I just saw DraftKings still has it at 22. So now we might influence them too, but while you guys are live, we can still do it. Of the teams like in the top, like the Rock, the Seals, I like the Firewolves, the Buffalo Bandits. Of like those 4 or 5 teams up there, are there any that stand out to you right now? Of like just separating themselves, or are we kind of all lockstep?
Yeah, I think all 4 are kind of in lockstep. I think right now, just looking at how the schedules shake out, that's kind of how I kind of look to attack the futures market. The Rock are still, I think, my top rated team. I know they got to get past Buffalo, and that's been their Achilles heel, but I really am, again, high on them. I think we kind of discredit how good their regular season was last year, just based on the fact that they laid a dud in the playoffs again. But I think they'll have so them and the Seals, I think, are the ones I want to get in now, just based on the schedule and how that shakes out. Or Buffalo, I think you could wait. Buffalo has a tough opening stretch of games. Now, obviously, you don't want to wait too long if they start to do well and they, win despite their tough schedule. But I think you could maybe wait a little on Buffalo, and they might have another season like last year where they start off a little bit modest, not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but a little bit slower, and then really turn it on the back half of their schedule, which is a lot easier. And then Albany is another one that I'm going to be watching like after their first 2 games. But, I power rate these teams like very, very close together. So it's like, I on the podcast that's coming out later today, I actually have Albany 3 and Buffalo 4, which probably will turn some heads. But then I tell people like the goal differential that I project for both of them is like 30 plus 34 and plus 33. So the margin is very thin, between these top 4 teams. I think any of these teams is live to win the championship and should be favored. So I don't differ too much from the market in terms of like where their odds are at. I just think, if you do want to get in on one of these teams, these odds can drop very quickly, after 2 or 3 games, depending if they go on win streaks. So that's where it's kind of, I'm looking to look right now. So, I already have a future on Buffalo, Toronto, and San Diego. So, Buffalo fans don't get into my mentions too much, but again, like if Albany and Buffalo are playing a game, I know Buffalo won last year, but I would have it at a pick 'em is basically what I'm at right now. So, love both teams. I think Buffalo's defense too. I've accounted for their defensive stretch that they went during the playoffs. I think they continue that. But you can't discount completely last year, Matt Vince, looking a little bit worse. Maybe it was some injuries at first, and then he turned it on again in the playoffs. So again, like, anything can have some playoff time, but in terms of regular season, it's a long season. So don't feel like you need to tie up your money or swing for the fences just off the start of the gate. There's definitely time to wait and be patient.
I don't want to take any thunder from our buddy Pat, but any week one stuff stand out to you? I personally love the over for Las Vegas and Rochester. I don't know if you've looked at that yet.
Yeah, so that's one of my 3. So let's just touch on that one, I guess. And then, if anyone else wants to know my other 2 picks, they'll be coming out in an article soon. Yes. Definitely sign up for Dub Club to get the picks as early as possible. But I like that one at 22.5. I like the over. I just think, again, I mentioned Rochester, I think made a lot of key acquisitions to shore up the defense. And Rylan Hartley is another one that is maybe not an acquisition, but his presence is going to help this team tremendously. We even saw it in the playoffs last year. But I do think there's always some growing pains, and this is more a bet on Rochester's offense more than it is against their defense. So I do like the over in this. Las Vegas, again, kind of a mixed bag defensively. They got a little bit worse defensively as the season progressed, and I think part of that was, they traded away John Wagner to Albany. I would say arguably their best defender, maybe up there with James Barclay. And then, the offense added some pieces, even though they lose Rob Hellier. Las Vegas added some pieces on offense. So although I'm not too high on Vegas as a team as a whole based on their defense, and I don't know what to make of Landon Kells still, they did add some key offensive acquisitions. So they might be out, scoring in this game as well. So I think this game's going to go over. I like it at 22.5. Probably would still bet at 23.5. I always get a little wary though, because sometimes, those overtime games can get you. If it's a 11-11 and then they end up, going to overtime, you win that bet. If you're on the 22.5, you lose if you're 23.5. So be aware of those key numbers, shop around, make sure you get the 22.5 if it's available to you. But I do think it'll be high scoring.
It is 22.5 still on DraftKings. Again, folks, I apologize. You better grab it now. And one more thing I'll ask you just to promote yourself here. You mentioned a podcast. Just for those that don't know, where can we find it? How often does it come out? Yeah,
so probably not going to be weekly, unfortunately. I would love to go back to a weekly podcast. I just don't think it's in the cards based on my schedule. But did one with Brian Andrews today. So that's going to be live pretty shortly. And you can find that on YouTube at Bet on Lacrosse. You can go to betonlacrosse.com. It will be posted there as well. And then if you want to just listen to it, it'll be at, pretty much any major podcast platform like Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio and stuff as well. Cool. So you can listen to the audio version as well as that. So be on the lookout for that probably in the next 2 or 3 hours.
I love it. Thank you so much for that. And thank you again, Captain Cool, Hutton Jackson, man.
Thank you guys so much.
Have a great day and enjoy the season.
Thank you. You as well.
Hutton Jackson, everybody. We knew he was cool, and now he's certified. All righty. When we come back to this show, we're going to wrap it up with my championship prediction. Have I swung for the fences with Colorado and Rochester? We'll let you know, as will producer Joe. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DustPods or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Reminder to check us out on Spotify. Search Daily Dive for audio-only podcast of this show. When today's show ends and you are getting your tickets for the next game, buy them for less at tickets.12onsports.com. That's tickets.numbers12lettersOZsports.com. You won't regret seeing things live, knowing you got your tickets for a great price. Alrighty, it is time. I gave you myself and producer Joe's predictions for the 1 through 14 standings. I gave you the records of the teams. I've given you my coach of the year. I've given you my goalie of the year. I give you my MVP today. It is time to put my money where my mouth is. Remember when I told you I did every single game winner? Good news for you, I also did it for the playoffs. As you know, my 1 through 8 seeds were Toronto, Buffalo, Albany, Colorado, San Diego, Saskatchewan, Ottawa, and Rochester. Those teams make the playoffs for me. I've got the Rock and the Mammoth heading to the semifinal, along with the Bandits versus the Firewolves. I believe both those games go to 3 series. I've got the Rock and the Firewolves in the finals. Who wins it? Well, not so fast. We got to go to Producer Joe. Producer Joe had the Bandits, the Seals, the Black Bears, the Firewolves, the Rock, the Rush, the Wings, and the Thunderbirds. He's got the Bandits and Rock playing the semifinal. He's got the Seals and the Black Bears on the other side. Both those series go to 3 games. Producer Joe, breaking news, went with the Seals to lose to the boys in 3 games. That's right, the Bandits are his champions. My champions, even though a special guest stole my thunder about a week ago. In 3 games, beating the Albany Firewolves, I've got Toronto Rock breaking through and winning the championship. I don't know why. It just feels good. It felt like the right time. The Rock have waited so long. I think Nick Rose will keep on playing well. Tom Schreiber and Mark Matthews have another year under their belt. Latrell Harris is back. T.D. Irwin's injury concerns me because faceoffs do matter. The Toronto Rock, everyone's media darling, will finally break through and win another championship. Also, it helps you. In 1995, they won it. In 2005, they won the championship. 2015, they made it. In 2025, will they win it again? We'll have to find out. That was a tweet from Adam Levy, by the way. Alrighty, that's it. The show is done. Be sure to follow us on the socials at Daily Dive LAX. And thanks again for watching today's awesome show. Reminder, you're the bread, you're the butter. You're the Hutton Jackson to my player props. If you tuned in for the first time, please come again and be sure to comment. We got comments today from Josh H., who talked about Connor Fields, saying that Rochester would be bottom 3 team without him. He also said, who's ready for the NL season to open up this week? It's been far too long, I agree. And our very own 12 on Sports says LFG. We comment and we'll show them on the show. For amazing guests like the ones before today, today's guest, Hutton Jackson, and those to come, including Pat Gregoire and Adam Levy this Friday, thank you for coming on this show, sharing your audience with us, giving us validity and relevance. For about astounding and producing history, Producer Joe, I am your host, Mike, saying see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 12 on Sports. This has been Daily Dive.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.